Nick here with What Game Now, and it is currently Thursday, which is May 21st, I believe. Yeah. We are currently slightly under 24 hours, closer to 36 hours away from Games Workshop's big announcement on Saturday the 23rd. Now, very interestingly, I wasn't really too worried about this. You know, they've done a number of these since the virus pandemic hit and Adepticon was canceled. But I saw a very interesting post a couple hours ago from Adepticon announcing that this particular preview was the one that we were supposed to get at Adepticon. And they specifically called it out as a sneak peek into the future of Warhammer 40,000, or 40K for short. And they seem to very much be hyping up that there's some major 40K stuff happening here, and that this is a significant reveal. So what I thought we would go ahead and do is talk about what I expect to see out of this particular presentation. So I'm going to start off with the specialist games, then go to AOS, and then hit 40K at the end, which, having been to these, I've been to all of them they've done at Adepticon. That's the order in which they do them. They always start the specialist games, 40Ks last. And I'm going to roughly order these in how much I expect to see them. So as we move further along in each section, these will be more and more crazier things. So let's go ahead and start with specialist games. Right off the bat, I think it's fair to say that we are probably going to see a new warband for Warcry. They seem to be punching those out a fair bit. And they also, to my knowledge, just finished the last one that they had initially revealed when Warcry first came out. So anything that comes out after this will be completely new, and Adepticon is always a good place historically to show that off. You're going to get a lot of 40K, you're going to get a lot of AOS players, just a lot of GW players in general. So I think it makes sense that if they're going to show off a new warband, you're almost certainly going to see it here. Once we get past Warcry, I haven't heard much from Shadespire of late, but I have no reason to expect that they won't also reveal the next season of Shadespire. So just so you know, Shadespire goes through seasons. So the first season was Shadespire. This current one is Beastgrave. I don't remember all the names because I know how to play Shadespire. At least I learned how to play when it came out. And past that, I really haven't been too on board with caring about it. It's not that I think it's necessarily a bad game, it's just not something that I particularly enjoy. Past that, we haven't heard much out of Blood Bowl, Necromunda, or anything like that, so I wouldn't be surprised if Blood Bowl, I think there's still a few teams they need to come out with, so Blood Bowl is always an option. Necromunda seems to have slowed down a fair bit, so I'm not expecting much on that front. Haven't heard much out of Titanicus lately, have no reason to expect that's going to change. We are probably going to see we might see some teasers for Aeronautica. It strikes me as a fairly minor thing, so they might not waste space at a major reveal convention for it, but I could see it. And then also there's some Blackstone Fortress stuff coming out that I expect we'll probably see some more of. So that's it for box games. Next up, just quickly touch on the Middle-earth strategy battle game, which is what they're calling the Hobbit Lord of the Rings game now. I don't expect to see anything. It's been very quiet on this front, and most of it's been Forge World coming out with characters, so pass there. Next up, we have Age of Sigmar, and this is where I expect to see some stuff. So first off, we are fairly close to release of the Lumineth Realm Lords, and they haven't fully revealed the entire faction yet, or at least I don't think they have, so I expect there to be a preview for them there, certainly. And then on top of that, we also have the Sons of Behemoth, I believe I'm pronouncing that right, the new Giants faction, or Gargants, whatever they're calling them, for Age of Sigmar, and they haven't shown any models for it, to my knowledge. They've just teased it, so I expect we'll see a model for the Sons of Behemoth, or at least parts of one. So I'm expecting to see that. I'm expecting to see another round of Realm Lords teasers, and then maybe a hint of what comes next after that, although they did just reveal the Sons of Behemoth. So they might tease something further down the line, but I kind of doubt it. So that's kind of it for AOS. There's not much to say there. We're not expecting a new version of the rules. We're really just waiting on battle tomes. I've nothing to expect anything else coming out. The big one, though, this year, as it's been implied, is Warhammer 40k. What could possibly be coming for 40k? Well, let's look at where they are right now. So Saga of the Beast just launched. I believe that's back in April. Don't quote me on that, though. I think it might have been supposed to be April, but anyway. So Saga of the Beast came out with Space Wolves vs. Orcs for the Psychic Awakening series. We are expecting very soon to see the release of Engine War, and I think we might get a release date for Engine War. Release dates because now that things are opening back up, they have more control and more knowledge of what's going on. So first off, release date for Engine War, I reasonably expect to see that. I also expect to see teasers for Pariah. Maybe some Necron models, maybe some non-Necron models. And that actually takes us through the entirety of Psychic Awakening. At that point, every army will have gotten something. Even Harlequins and Deathwatch, if you're curious, got a White Dwarf. So what could be the next big thing? Well, they finished Psychic Awakening. That was their campaign series. So it suggests that they're going to start something new. And the current rumor floating around is it will be 9th edition 40k. If they go like they did with Age of Sigmar 2.0, it won't really be a changing of the rules. You won't have to buy anything new aside from a new core rulebook, and even then that's free to download online, I believe. But, oh, and I think there were maybe some new War Scrolls to go with it, but the point is it was all out there, and I think it was free. But I wouldn't be surprised if we got a 9th edition coming out that was essentially an updated 8th edition, more of an 8.5 than a true 9th edition. I think that's the current leading guess. I wouldn't be particularly shocked if that's what happened. I do think 8th edition needs some tweaking. You know it's a problem when there's more pages of trying to fix your system than there are rules in the system, for the core aspect at least. So I do expect to see that. I expect to see it's probably going to just incorporate all the errata, and they might make a few changes. They might remove reinforcement points, which I'm a little indifferent on. I think it's in 40k it wouldn't be as bad because summoning's not so much a thing, or summoning's not as like prolific as it is in Age of Sigmar. So I think you could get away with it if you assigned it command points. What I personally so anyway, that concludes my, if you want to turn it off right here, what I think is going to happen. That's my summary of what I think is going to happen. We're going to see a new Shadespire Warband probably. I think we're going to see a new season of Shadespire, and then maybe pick another game and see something, possibly Blood Bowl. Blood Bowl's always been popular. I don't expect to, or Aeronautica too. Aeronautica Imperialis. I don't expect to see much for Age of Sigmar, or not Age of Sigmar, Middle Earth. Age of Sigmar, I suspect they're going to conclude the teasers for the Lumineth Realm Lords and probably give us a release date, and then tease Sons of Behemoth. And then 40k, I think they're going to provide us the information for closing off Psychic Awakening in terms of, okay, here's the date for Engine War, and then here's some teasers for the Necron stuff, and then what happens next is probably going to be a 9th edition, or an 8.5. I don't know what else to call it. The only other thing I could see them doing maybe is another campaign series. But I want to see a 9th edition personally. So if you're curious what our thoughts were, there you go. I am going to waffle a little bit around what I'd like to see in 9th edition, if you're interested in listening. But that concludes the actual video portion of what I think is going to happen. Anyway, 9th edition, and this is just me throwing stuff out there, because if it's like Games Workshop's 8th edition reveal, they will tell us a respectable amount of the mechanics, or at least the broad terms. So first off, I wouldn't be surprised if reinforcement points went away. Quite simply, they're just too much of a headache. Part of that, I would expect to see a rebalancing of things that lets you purchase additional models for command points. So the Assassin Stratagem, the Demon Summoning would probably get tweaked, the Chaos Space Marine Summoning would probably get tweaked. I would expect to see all of that happen. Big thing for me that I would like to see them address is, number one, I would like to see terrain. Terrain in 40k feels very pointless to me. not necessarily pointless, that's probably a bad word, but the only things that matter is, does it provide cover and does it block line of sight? Past that, you don't really see a lot. You don't see the special terrain get used. I don't think it's there. So I'd like to see them go through and work on the terrain aspect of 40K. And then the other thing that I would like to see them do is integrate some of the restrictions that Chapter Approved brought in. So the reinforcements things and all that. Integrate that into the core rules. And then I think have rules for open and narrative play that lets you violate them. Because, I mean, flip open a Chapter Approved sometime and just look at how much extra stuff has to be put in there to make it work, and it's not insignificant. So I think all that should be integrated along with some of the FAQs. I would like to see an amendment to character targeting, simply adding in a clause that says you have to be able to see the model that's preventing you from targeting the character. So let me give you an example. If you have a character that's 18 inches away from my squad, and they can all see that character, but you have another model that's 12 inches away from my squad, hidden behind a building that nobody in my squad can see, currently I can't target the character, and I think that needs to be amended or changed in some way, because that it leads to some very annoying situations, and I think it leads to some very unfun situations. The number of times I've seen a character holding or standing on a mission critical objective that has to die, who is untargetable because of that. Number one, if you're going to argue simulation, there is no reason they wouldn't just pump the character full of shots, but I want to see that change. I think that needs to change. Another thing that I would like to see changed is something to do with morale. Right now, morale feels a little too irrelevant. Like, unless you're playing a horde army, morale is meaningless. And even then, there's a stratagem that lets you auto-pass where you need it. So morale feels kind of pointless to me right now. And then the last thing I would like to see them do is please remove the 2d6 charge. Make it... what I would like to see is, it's a 2d6 charge, it is a minimum of your movement characteristic. Or a minimum of 6 inches or something, because nothing shocks me more than seeing a unit that can move 12 inches in one turn fail a charge where they needed a 3. Okay, that's not fun, that's not engaging, that's not interesting, that's just you got hit by bad dice. There's no way to control it, there's no way to affect it. It just it grates me that there's no minimum there. Anyway, I've kind of waffled along with my 9th edition wish list a fair bit. But anyway, that concludes our quick summary of what I think we're going to see. I'm going to do another one of these probably the day of, once they've shown up, just to see what I get right, what I get wrong, and what are my thoughts. I'm going to give it a little bit of time and see if more context comes out, like through chat or something. So with that, guys, I will see you later.
Hey, this is Dave. If you like what we're doing here at What Game Now, go ahead and click on one of the videos which should be on either side of me, or click right in the middle and go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the bell once you subscribe so that you know when we have new videos. Please go ahead and share us with your friends. Let everybody know that we're here. Thank you for watching, and thank you for all of our subscribers already. And we look forward to bringing you more content every chance that we get.